Hari Om. Warm welcome to everyone who's joining today for our Sadhana Panchakam class. Alright. We'll begin by first having our opening prayer. Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya-madhyamam Asmadacharya-paryantam Vande Guru-paramparam Shruti-smriti-purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat-pada Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Samasta Jana Kalyane Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram Sadgurum Brahmavidvaram. Hari Om. Now we'll chant. We'll chant the first 3 verses of Sadhana Panchakam. And I encourage everybody to have a copy of the text. There is a wonderful copy published by Chinmay Mission, available here at the ashram, or also at different puja stores in Guyana. If you don't have that, you can please pull it up. Don't get distracted online. Let us chant. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taruditam karma svanushthiyatam eneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyachyatam papaugah paribhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmechavyavasiyatam nijagrahat turnam vinirgamyatam sangah satsu vidhiyatam bhagavatah bhaktir dridhadhiyatam shantyadi parichiyatam dhridataram karmashu santyajyatam sadvidvanupasrityatam pratidinam tatpaduka sevyatam brahmaikakshamartyatam shrutishirah vakyam samakarnyatam vakyarthascha vicharyatam shrutishirah pakshasamaashriyatam dustarkat suviramyatam shrutimataha tarkonusandhiyatam brahmasmiti vibhavyatam aharaharaha garva parityajyatam deham matirujyatam bhutajanaihi vada parityajyatam. Okay. So this is the wonderful Sadhana Panchakam that outlines the whole journey of scriptures in Sanatana Dharma in 40 steps combined to make 5 shlokas. That is why it's called Panchakam, which we have seen in detail each one, specific sadhana, word by word, we have been going through. And where we left it off last time, for those who are joining for the first time, about 20 sadhanas have been given. Somebody can go back and check the exact number, 8, and we are just coming now to the end of the second verse. I'll tell you exactly where, so you can find it in the text. The end of the second verse, where one is telling, well, actually, let me introduce you to a general breakdown, which we have seen for those who've been following along. This will be a little bit of a recap. Although the spiritual sadhana steps, the spiritual practices have been broken down into 40 minor steps, it can also be broken down into 2 basic steps that we have seen in the past. Now, just to introduce a little bit of technical terminology, which will be helpful to those who are getting a vision of spirituality. The first group of steps is called as Bahiranga Sadhana, or external spiritual practices, preparatory practices. This is the first group. And they deliver to each one of us preparation for our mind. The whole personality becomes tuned and fit to do higher things. And in all fields, you have some basic preparatory things we must do. In schools, you have to wear a uniform, you have to come on time, you have to pack a bag, carry a lunch. All these things are important for learning, but they don't constitute the actual learning itself. Correct or not? But you cannot go to school without going on time and wearing the right uniform and following the rules and having food and all that. So these are Bahiranga Sadhana. They're preparatory, essential. And they go on serving you as you go to higher things. Being punctual and taking good notes and having a disciplined schedule, all those things will serve you all the way to PhD. So essential. Then comes what is called technically as Antaranga Sadhana. Meaning to say, now the text is at a point where we shift to the inner spiritual practices, the direct spiritual practices. Those practices which will deliver what? They will deliver to us freedom. Those practices are broken down, how somebody works now directly to access the freedom which is already present in our heart. And thereby, a person becomes dynamic, fearless, joyful, that which we are all seeking in out through life. This is directly sought now. And right before reaching that step, Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya lays it out such that Sadvidvan upasripyatam pratidinam tat paduka sevyatam. So this is what we just saw. The individual finds his guru, or the guru finds him, we saw. We can't really go find a guru. Technically, if you look at it carefully, when the student is ready, the guru finds you. And having approached the guru properly, and we saw who is a qualified guru also, and who is not. Having approached the guru like Arjuna approached, what should we do? Sevyatam. One should serve that guru. And last class we were talking about service. What is really the right attitude to accompany our service to the world? Our service to our guru, in this case specifically. And what that will deliver to us as a sadhana. Specifically, seva is irreplaceable and monumental in our journey. It transforms the individual, it removes hang-ups, it clears blockages, it destroys inhibitions, it allows us to understand where our Guru is standing, our Guru to understand us, it creates a connection, it does so many things. Seva. And we saw it can be done remotely, and it can be done in any which way that we are capable of doing. All these points we saw in detail. Essentially, Seva is a refuge for us in life. Of course, we're out there doing our work and there's sweat on our brow and we're trying to accomplish this and protect that and change this other thing, and we're working hard. But when we have at least a portion of our life which is dedicated to selflessly giving something to that Guru, whatever we can, that aligns with what his word is. It means every Guru stands for something, stands on something. So that's why it is written, Tat Paduka Sevyatam. In any which way we can do that, when we have carved out that little piece in life, that piece of life gives peace to our life and transformation. And anyone who, even for a moment in thinking, spends a minute, and this can be a wonderful experiment for you to actually test in your own experience the power of Seva, which we are glorifying here. Take a minute and spend it entirely on the welfare of somebody else, making sure there is no thought about what you will get or how you will be known for it or something like that. Just take a minute, think of someone for whom you are anonymous, like the man on the street, and think about his welfare for a minute and how what something you could do for him. So he will never know, but you do it out of love. In that 1 minute, you will find that all the heavy weights that were on your mind, they start to dissolve. New potential starts to arise in you. New inspiration starts to arise. And that is from 1 minute. Imagine taking up with fervor some project. So taking it for a short time. Eventually, all of us, all beings, it is envisioned, will one day live a life of Seva, where Seva is our main preoccupation. This is the vision in Sanatana Dharma. We all should have it in our mind. We have in mind one day we'll all retire, because we're taught that from small. One day we will all travel to this wonderful beach or that foreign land. We have that also planted in our mind. But the scriptures have offered to humankind the best thing to plant there, or one of the best things to plant in our mind, is one day I will live a life of Seva. I will be capable to live a life of Seva and reap that type of transformation. In fact, it is so well emphasized in Sanatana Dharma, every stage of life involves Seva. The brahmachari, the one who goes to school, he has some service to do to his teacher. Then the grahastha, he has some service to uphold the so many institutions that exist. But the vanaprasthi, he or she means the one who has retired from being a cog in the wheel for the capitalistic machine. Right? He retired from bartering away his life for pleasures and all that. And now is spending that energy using all the skills and techniques that he has learned out there in the world to help and serve a cause greater than himself and his family. Actually, Vanaprastha was imagined for that. So that means to say, within Sanatana Dharma, we carved out a phase of life just for this, to embody this one idea. Means, when we say phase of life, we're putting 20 years dedicated towards this. And that is a great goal. And such people are noble and strong, and they really set out an ideal path for all of us. So, Seva is tremendous in our tradition also. And simple, ordinary attitude of I want to be of service to this great Guru and their cause which they stand for, or the principle for which they embody. And that's all. I may not be able to envision it, I may not be able to calculate it, I may not see the connection to how it will work, but I want to offer something. Simply make my contribution, make it well. That is what is required, and that is all that is required. And all of us can do that. The little boy who sits on the counter and just makes a mess with the all-purpose flour, he feels in his heart he's helping mom bake a cake. He's capable of that seva. Most he can do is not get in the way. Sit in one place and put flour everywhere. That's his contribution. But he feels he's helping. And that is transformational. So if it works, if such a young child, girl or boy, is capable of that, we also. Having served the Guru, traditionally, now the Guru will give permission for that student to now inquire, to ask. And here marks the turning point to the direct inner transformation that comes from the discussion between the student and the Guru. In Sanatana Dharma, the transformation which comes always comes through this samvada. You'll see at the end of every Bhagavad Gita chapter, it is written, Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. So, the discussion between the student and Guru is what is the method, the basic technique involved in our inner transformation. As opposed to what? As opposed to do these things, chant these mantras, go to this place, profess your belief in this person, then you will be saved or something. We don't have anything like that in Sanatana Dharma. What we have? Inquiry. Inquiry forms the basic technique for our inner freedom. Ask a question, listen, and all the things will come after, we will see. That is why the pinnacle of all of our scriptural texts, the Upanishads, always are in the format of a discussion between a Guru and a Shishya. So you belong to that tradition which has put forth the method of transformation solely on the exercising to the zenith the human intellect. This is why so many of the modern thinkers and scientists and intellectuals, they love this Sanatana Dharma. When they come to realize that, really speaking, at its core and its essence, it is a tradition that appeals to a thinking man or woman, they realize that, oh, this Sanatana Dharma, though it is as old as the hills, it is the most applicable thing for modern times. So what is it now that we should ask the Guru at that time? That also advice is there. And we began to see that last time. Brahmaikaksharam artyatam. One should seek to give meaning to Brahman, to the meaning of this, the reality, the one reality, which is also imperishable and or represented by Om. We spent some time thinking about last week, what is the meaning of Om? And I can't go back into all of that now. You'll have to go back to last class and see the meaning of Om. One thing that we didn't see last time about this verse is that it can be interpreted and is interpreted by saints and sages to have various meanings. which the saints and sages do very well. They pack meanings into words, they let words be used for one sentence and the next sentence at the same time, putting it in between. Dehali Deepa Nyaya it is called. So different techniques they have. The choice of words to deliver the most impact in the least amount of words. It is what is achieved by text like this, which you can also sing. So the other meaning that is given there is that the individual should seek out knowledge of Brahman alone. Alone? So you don't meet your Guru and say, "Oh Guruji, I want to know about Brahman, and I also want to know how do you make that dosa so nicely. Teach me your recipe." That is not the essential question we have in our mind. It means to say, in the heart, by this point in the journey, through all the sadhanas, the last being seva, and having approached the Guru and then seva, the individual understands what is worthwhile learning from this Guru who embodies this principle I want to know about. And we may not know exactly how to put it across. We may not know all the technical terms, but to find meaning in what is often called, recently popularized as your own inner quest, to express it to the Guru. Maybe you ask, "Hey Gurudev, hey Prabhu, oh Mahatma Ji, what is it that's missing in my life? I know something is missing." Maybe your question is that simple. What is the purpose of my life? However it is put, inquire for that most essential thing that your heart seeks for. And that Guru up until this point, responsibility has fallen entirely on the shoulders of the sadhaka. It's up to us to follow the instructions, be inspired by them, practice with them, experiment with them, grow diligently every day. When we approach the Guru now and we ask such a question, the Guru who needs nothing, but sitting on his own by himself, he takes now some responsibility to ensure that that question gets its fitting response for that student. So the next instruction that comes after that, Guru is pleased, gives opportunity to ask. We ask that question that has been refined over our whole journey, what we're really seeking, and the answer for which we feel that alone will give me what I'm looking for. Then the Guru knows that, okay, I have a qualified student has come. So the Guru will not say now, okay, go and open a business here and do something. The Guru has to give Atmanyana. A qualified student has come. This is what we find in our scriptures. The only means to answer such a question is what is captured and passed down in the Upanishads. The means to answer the question of the human heart has been reliably provided in Sanatana Dharma for tens of thousands of years through the Upanishads. And generations upon generations of children, men, women, people of different religions have all found the answer through the means of knowledge that is the Upanishads. The Upanishads are, if you find an Upanishad, you will find, well, this is just words. It's just a discussion going on, as we spoke about earlier. Discussion means conversation, means words and their meaning form the content of the Upanishads. So, that tells us that knowledge, you can say, maybe you want to say information, some idea has to be given to you such that it serves as eyes for you and I to see a reality which is existing right now, which we can't see otherwise. A message has to be given that will then serve as our eyes. So we come to recognize something which is there, which we do not yet see. So the Upanishads are called as pramanam. They are called as a valid means of knowing something. Means like we have eyes to see colors and forms, which no other sense organ can provide. You can, no matter how good your hearing is, you will never know the color of the murti if you keep your eyes closed. Correct or not? There's only one way to know for sure, and that is you look with your eyes. Then you will know. You can hear from somebody what the color is. But if you yourself have been blind your whole life, you will not know the meaning of that. So hearing alone is not the means to understand color or form. And seeing is not the means to taste. So they each deliver their own type of perception to us, and they are the valid means for that. Eyes, ears, nose, tongue, skin. In the same way, there is a sixth sense organ, like the eyes or ears or nose or tongue or skin, that allows us to personally perceive a reality which hitherto we have not perceived because we have not been using that sense organ. In this way we understand what the Upanishads are. So it is not a bunch of ideas for us to study and write essays about and all that. Although that is a good project if somebody wants to try. Really what they are understood as a means of knowledge. Through this, I will come to perceive and know something with as much, actually, when you study deeply, with way more certainty than you have with your eyes even. It means you just look now as an experiment at any color there around you, in your room, outside, wherever you might be, in your vehicle. Okay, I see this color. Suppose blue. How sure are you that it is blue? Well, I am sure. I can see it as clear as day, right in front of me. The Upanishads deliver understanding and experience of the reality even more clearly than you see that color in front of you right now. That is what it means to say as a valid means of knowledge. Right. Now, such a means cannot be given, we cannot gain that knowledge merely by reading or over Facebook or Zoom. You might say, okay, Facebook and Zoom don't work. Will Google Meetings work? Or Skype? Will those do the job? It is called a mukhya tradition, a face-to-face tradition. The means for gaining that knowledge of the Upanishads, the Mahavakya, the means for that is to be done in person, face-to-face, with that teacher who is the embodiment of that knowledge. Because if we are just listening by and by, or reading it, we will not know for certain whether or not we understood. How will you know if you read it, if you really understood what was meant by the teacher? I remember Guruji in one of the Vedanta courses telling, don't read the commentary that he himself wrote in Tattvabodha. You'll get confused. Listen to what I'm telling you. Guruji, who's written the most sought after commentary on so many Vedantic texts, is telling the student, listen to what I'm saying now in front of you. Seeing the student and making that communication clear is essential. So I wanted to emphasize that it doesn't mean to say a class like this is of no use. It is of tremendous value for someone who's learning. But finally we must know, for the Upanishads to deliver their benefit, we must study in person. with a great saint or sage. Meaning to say, we must plan in our life that at some point we will go and regularly and systematically expose ourselves to such teaching in person, face to face. That is a required, inescapable part of our transformation. Right. So this is what is going on now. And Bhagavan says, Shruti Shiraha Vakyam Samakarnyatam. You ask, and now the Guru will explain. One must listen well, attentively, it means, listen attentively, Samakarnyatam, to the head of the scriptures, which we saw last time. If you take the scriptures to be the Vedas, the head is the Upanishads. If you take the scriptures to be the whole length and breadth of scriptures in Sanatana Dharma, as I'm sitting here in the ashram, the back of the ashram is nothing but books. I think it's the largest selection of books in Guyana that I'm looking at right now. Spiritual books. And all of that, the head of it, the critical, most essential aspect of it is the Upanishads. In the Upanishads, if you take that to be Shruti, then the critical and most essential aspect of it is Mahavakya. Now we spent some time last week on how to listen attentively, not tentatively. And the essential idea there is to listen with an open mind. Open mind is not so easy. We bring to our listening always some bias. To put it on hold such that I am ready to accept what is being told if it can be made sensible, if it can be put across logically, and if I can see how in my own experience it is true. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. If you can meet the tests of communication and knowledge transfer, then I will accept. I'm open. Put in another way, I heard nicely, curious without seeking any specific type of answer. I'm listening. I'm open. I don't know where you're taking me, Guruji, but I'm listening. I'm curious, open, full of wonder. Of course, at the back of my mind, I want freedom. So with that type of mind, you listen to the Mahavakya, means the great statements of the Upanishads. What are those great statements? A Mahavakya is a statement which reveals that you are what you're looking for. That is a Mahavakya. It is a statement, more technically if you want to say, it is a statement which reveals the oneness between the jiva, the individual, distinct, separate being living in all the various bodies, and Brahman, the absolute, all-pervasive, ever-present reality. To reveal the oneness such that you yourself can see it, right here, right now, more than you see the color blue as visible. That is the job of the great statements within the Upanishads. And some of those have become very famous. Tattvamasi, you are that reality. Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman. Prajnanam Brahma, that consciousness is Brahman. These have become so famous within the tradition. Right. So let us now think a little bit more about what happens after you hear that knowledge. And it is explained. At that point, for a student, we say, well, now you have gained knowledge. Listening enough was enough. For you to say, well, I know. Guruji, you explained to me what the self is. You explained to me what is not the self. I understand finally that I am that reality which I am seeking. However, there's still many steps to be taken. After that, a person generally feels, but I have some doubt. I mean, the statements you are making about who I am and what I am as I sit here right now, if you say it like that, are so astonishing that it does not match anything I know about myself or this world and all the knowledge I've collected so far. I cannot absorb what the Upanishads are telling me into the body of knowledge I have right now. And in that gap or gulf between what I know and what I'm hearing, to make the jump, in that gulf is where questions arise. To bridge the gap between the known and what is known here and what is known there. When they collide and we don't understand, that is called the basis of doubt. So the next step which is explained is to answer doubt. So after listening, something to remove doubts will be the next step. Sometimes the problem is not doubt also. Sometimes the problem is vagueness. Aspashtata. Our knowledge is not spashta, clear. We understood what you said, but I do not understand all of the implications of it. I understand it maybe when you say it like this, but then in this other circumstance, I'm very foggy about how it remains true. I understood it for a moment and then I got confused again. I'm not clear about things. So to gain clarity and to remove doubts, something more is needed. So that comes now in the third verse. What is there? There we go. Vakyartascha vicharyatam. The key word there is vichar. What comes next now is reflection. Reflection on what? Vakya means the statements that were just mentioned. Any statement of the Upanishads, all of the statements of the Upanishads which lead us to this great realization that I have within me, have always been searching for. I have within me that. It can't be taken away. Even if I feel like I don't have it, that also becomes like an enjoyable feeling because it cannot be removed and I know I have it. It's a wonderful realization. So that is what is taught in the Upanishads. Now, those type of, all the statements that embody that knowledge, to do reflection, ponder, masticate, chew on those ideas such that doubts are removed and I gain clarity. The work for the student in this aspect of inner sadhana is here. This is where the work is. Listening is easy compared to vichar because you just sit and openly and you listen to the Guru. But to think over what has been said is not so easy. Actually, thinking is not hard because you and I are designed for thinking. All day, every day, what do you and I do? We ponder, we think, we wonder, we weigh, we imagine, we calculate, we decide, we doubt, we question, we debate, we convince, we reject, we persuade. How many, all day was thinking or not? So now, the human being, which has a buddhi, the capacity to think, we scheme, plan, all day we're doing it. So now that faculty has to be applied to what is being said in the Upanishads. And when we have to think rightly, when we have to think systematically, when we have to think without belief and bias and emotion and worry and fear, and we have to make our thinking objective, that is when we say thinking is hard. Many times, in panic, we do something or we say something. Has it happened to you? Yeah, I don't have to ask you, I have to ask your spouse or your sibling, and they'll tell me. And if you ask for me, they'll tell you. In panic, we do things. Afterwards, universally we can say, a moment's thought would have shown me. But thinking is not an easy process, and a moment is a long time. When you're panicking, to take a moment to think, that feels like you're asking too much of me. The demand is too much. So thinking will have saved so many beings. Many people who are in jail right now, a moment's thought would have saved them. Oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't drink and drive. A moment's thought would have saved them, saved the life of another person. Thinking is essential to our progress in life. Proper thinking. So that capacity now has to be applied. And this is the main job that we all have. This is the main job that is going on now in that Vedanta course that is going on in Trinidad, where students are studying the scriptures every day for 2 years from scratch with our Puja Swami Prakashanandaji, and which is also going on in various languages in Bharat to produce individuals who are interested and have understanding of the scriptures and can share that with others. The main work is what? It is this: studying the meaning of the words of the scriptures. And so many tremendous saints and sages and avatars have come just to help us in that process. And they have helped us by writing bhashya, commentary. It means to say, in the scriptures, a statement will be made. And then we will have to now logically think and reflect over that. What is being said here? When you read it, sometimes it is clear on its face. Oh, this is the meaning. The literal meaning is very clear. Sometimes the literal meaning which is being said is not very clear. When I read it, I don't know what it means. So we need commentary. And as I just mentioned, sometimes the different words that are given there, they can be, any one word can be taken in several meanings. And then you have to see which meaning applies and which meaning will never apply. And all this type of thing has to be done. It can get hair splitting. But this is what we do. I remember our Acharya Puja Swami Prakashanandaji explaining to us that when he was in law school and he witnessed the amount of legal precedent that exists, that humanity has produced from the Magna Carta coming down, every decision made by every high court and middle court and low court has been documented, going way back for 200 more years. And every one of those have been cited and compared and analyzed and reused and regurgitated and updated. That is the amount of intellectual effort that humanity has put to protect property and rights and liberties. If we have to just put 1/10 of that investment in the Upanishads, vast swaths of society will be realized. So it is not that the scriptures are demanding any extraordinary thinking. And it is not just in the legal field. You just look at any field. In the accounting field, IFRS, International Financial and Reporting Standards, the amount of effort and time that has gone in to revise those and represent those and teach those and test those. Fire code. Have you seen the fire code in some places? How they have sat and analyzed the distance from the electrical socket and the ground and the distance from the water pipe and all that. Quality standards. ISO standards. So there's no end if you look around how much intellectual effort we've put into everything to standardize things. There is more technology in the phone and the device you're using to watch this satsang than there was in things we sent to space years ago. So that all shows the intellectual power we all have. So to apply some of it now in the scriptures is what is going to make the difference. But that is quite painting the human species in a very nice light, with respect to reflection. But individually, if you look and see, the human being does not like to expend their thinking power. We would prefer, as a society, if someone else thinks for us. And this is being seen as a tremendous risk to humanity now that we have AI. If you put in front of a human being the choice, you can think and come to your own conclusion, or you can outsource that thinking to society, or to a television, or to an ad, or to a software, which now will have ads within it. If you had the choice between that which is trying to sell you something, put it this way, to simplify. If you could outsource your thinking which car to buy, to your own faculty and research, or a car salesman, the human being would prefer the car salesman. Just don't remind me you're a car salesman. It is seen en masse. It is fun to watch how human beings used to dress every 10 years. Sometimes you see old music videos. Whether you take Bollywood videos or Hollywood or whatever, 2000s they dress one way. 1990s they dress another way. 1980s is a different way. Going back, eventually you find bell bottoms and long hair and all that. And everybody is dressing that way. You go back and look at your parents' photos. You're also dressing like Dilip Kumar dressed. You're dressing like Rajkumar and you have the mustache and everything. Why? Because when we wonder how am I supposed to dress and present myself and act and walk, we don't think for ourselves. We say, okay, this is how everybody else is doing, so I will also follow the same. Correct or not? And then when a few people change, then everybody will change. Like that. That goes against the fact that we should be glorified for our ability to think and reason and come to independent, fearless conclusions. But to state right now, our thinking capacity and that of our neighbors and friends and family, it really is lying in ruins. The simple testament to that is the rise of betting and gambling. It is a silent epidemic in North America. Now, children from their phone can watch anything on television or anything that they're streaming, and there are apps to allow you to bet moment to moment on whether or not, this person will hit that ball, this person will sink that bucket, this person will hit that six. So people spend their free time in that type of betting. And recently here, the government stated that it is an epidemic here, I don't know which word they use, is a big problem here in Guyana also. Every village will have a betting stall. But thinking capacity should make it very clear to all of us. Is it worth it? Like, take a moment now and think. We're spending a little extra time on vichar because it is essential to our progress in humanity and in scriptures. We will know the statistics on every star that is playing that sport, down to the detail thing. So that's how much will apply. And odds and all that. I don't know how it works, but they have odds and over, under, and all these terms, right? But just ask general questions. Do you know anyone who has ever gotten rich by betting? and lottery? Do you know? Yeah, I know somebody. I read about them in the newspaper. I have a distant cousin, brother, uncle, somebody won something one time. Can anybody make a living doing that? No. Nobody can. If they could, then that lottery would go out of business. It is not designed for that. So if you are betting as part of your living, well then you and I have been suckered then, isn't it? Because you cannot make a living like that. And then suppose you say, yeah, that person, but you intellect says, but I might have a chance. I still might I have a chance. And then we don't know how to answer such a question, and so we invest in the lottery. But how do you know whether or not you or that person would have been better off not investing in that lottery and spending that money somewhere else? We are seduced by the idea of a chance, but we don't see what is called the opportunity cost. A man comes to you and says, give me $200. I will put your name in a raffle to win a $20 million car. Right? A real fancy car. Or you can take that same $200 and get in a bus and go to town to do your work. How do you know you'll be better off putting the $200 in the raffle? In fact, that $200 might buy you a bus ticket where you go to work and you meet somebody and you start something and your whole life might change. You don't know. Life is a lottery. Every moment is a lottery. If you have to win winnings, it'll come. The lottery feels like they have a monopoly on wealth. But we have ill-conceived plans by which we spend our time. So instead, like this, the mind has to be guided to reflect such that it comes to conclusions that are true, or at least useful conclusions. And the intellect should be well sharpened and capable to defend and pierce and beat back all false and fallacious logic people use to persuade you into their own whims and fancies and will. Many people like to appeal to the basic tribal logic of us versus them. In every community, you see this thing. Us versus them. In the household, in the village, between people in the mandir, at a political level, at a national level, us versus them. But we don't give much thought to it. Yes, everybody has a sense of us and a sense of them. But the little boy who goes to preschool or middle school, he has a sense, okay, well, us means me and my family, and then there's them, all these other boys and girls playing. But for him, them is a frontier where he's going to interact with it, and eventually the them becomes us. Them is a frontier of the unknown, only to be adopted in us. That is how, and therefore he makes friends and grows and develops, correct or not? And suppose he does meet the one boy on the field who is totally antithetical to him and wants to bully him and all that. That does not destroy his capacity to expand himself. But we get rooted, no? There's us, and there's a line, and then there's them, and they're different. And then we stunt our own growth. That idea of us versus them is supposed to be a moving boundary. Like that. So thinking capacity allows us to access truths which are present, which we've heard about, and make them our own. Specifically with respect to the Mahavakya now, we'll just think about it for a moment. The scriptures will tell things like, you, Brahman, are Achalam. You're unmoving. You're Sarvavyapi. You are all pervasive. You're Avinashi. No, you're Avinashi. tutad viddi, yena sarvamidam tatam. Know that all this is pervaded by you, who is immutable, cannot be destroyed. So you hear these things, and as I mentioned, that doesn't sound like me at all. I just had my birthday. What do you mean I'm getting older? I'm not Avinashi. So then you take anyone now, and the scriptures will provide logic for us to reflect on. I am achalam, for instance. I am not moving. But I move all the time. This we talked about a little bit. So the scriptures say, no. You are like space. In you all things are moving. And that is the truth of the moment right now. If it were not like that, you would not be able to know anything that is moving. What did you say? Come again? Just like how, if you're inside a car, and you're going down the road nicely, and somebody asks you to count the cars that passed by Monopole, and you're in a car going in past Monopole, you can't count. You have to be outside the vehicle, standing on the corner, and then only you can count the cars, correct? You have to be unmoving in order to see the vehicles go by. In the same way, have you noticed that you see your thoughts come and go? You see moments come and go? That means to say, one aspect of you is unmoving relative to your thoughts. If you were your thoughts moving, you would not be able to see that one has gone and a new one has come. Like that. So definitely there's something achalam about you. And that part is essential. That part is essential. Like this, the scriptures go on indicating, revealing facts about who we are. We know that every 7 years the body changes. Well, that's what they say. The cells change every 7 years. Sometimes they say some of the cells, like the brain cells, last longer or whatnot. Brain cells last longer, but the knowledge does not last as long as the brain cells. Anyways, definitely in our lifetime, every single part of our body, right, would have changed and been renewed. But we never say that we have changed. See, if you have a vehicle and over the years you tear down and remove every part, you take out the seats, you replace the chassis one day, you replace the engine, you replace everything, you take out and replace one by one. First maybe you remove all the door panels and put new one. Next time you take off the door panels, replace the whole chassis, put it back. Next time, now the engine broken, take out the engine, put it back. Then you change the tires, put it back. And all the guts underneath, you take it out. One by one, you replace every piece. And at the end of it, you have a vehicle looking brand new. Same looking vehicle, but every piece is new. Is that the same vehicle as you started with, or is that a new vehicle? Nothing about it is the same. That happens to us in our lifetime at least 7 times, they say. Every piece has been changed. Every cell has been destroyed and a new one has come. Yet we say, I am the same person. I look at the baby picture. Although I don't recognize the baby. If you didn't tell me that was me, I wouldn't know. That was me then, and this is me now. That means to say, there is something there about me which doesn't change. Although everything is changing. So with such logic and pointers, we must spend our time. This is what the scriptures offer. Every day some reflection on the Upanishads at this stage in our journey. And slowly, what hordes of confusions and worries start to drop from our mind, and the individual starts to get a clear picture of what they are, and then they begin to benefit from the knowledge. Right. All right, so we leave it here now, having begun the first verse of this, the first few words of this third verse. All right. Now, Hari Om to everybody on Facebook. We'll drop off. Those who want to stay back and ask questions can. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.